Donald Trump ruined the economy, and he did so with his reckless words and the idea that we're going to bring manufacturing back to America by punishing everybody that we trade with. We have an economic system that is all about imports. We import everything, we export very little. And so when Trump is threatening and he uses these words saying that we're just going to tax everybody, we're going to tax the shit out of China, out of Mexico, out of Canada, because they take advantage of us, and we used to make great things, and we used to sell Ford cars to China, and American products used to be everywhere, and we did all this shit, make America great again with the 50s. America used to be great when he was rich. You know, like, we used to trade everything. We used to send things out. We were the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. We don't do that anymore. That's a minute. I'm done. None of that's fucking true, dude. Man. We don't have a manufacturing base anymore because the price of labor is too expensive. This is all Cantillon's effect. This is by Richard Cantillon, who came up in the 1700s, wrote a book called An Essay on Economic Theory, and it very explicitly explained when an economic entity has too much money, the first thing that they do is spend everything. They spend all their money. They get really nice shit. When they get really nice shit, they require more money coming in order to sustain the standard of living. Once they have the standard of living and they've raised their prices, eventually it gets way too expensive. Now labor's too expensive. We need more money coming in so I can have my 3 houses and a boat, 2 dogs, 2 bad bitches on the side, fucking, I don't know, whatever people are spending money on. So then they just start getting their production from somewhere else. Somewhere else. There's a guy that is sleeping on the floor, and he will make your shitty shit. He will make your coffee makers. He will put together your cars. He's going to make your toys. He's going to make all this stuff and still sleep on the ground. That is why we don't have manufacturing anymore. That is why China does their manufacturing, and China is having the same problem. China is having an issue where their standard of living is also now getting way too high. And we're not getting shit. We are getting things from China, but we're not getting everything from China. Look at the things that are made. Thailand, Taiwan, India, all these other places, the Philippines. It is so expensive to produce stuff here. And it's not just labor, it's regulations too. And you have to pay for everybody's insurance. Like, as a boss, that would fucking suck. So now we're just getting all of our products from somewhere else. The United States does not make enough anymore. We don't make enough stuff. And it's not because of, corruption. That's always going to have a part in it, but that's not the main factor. Like, even if there was zero corruption, it's just not going to happen. I mean, in a way, it's kind of corruption, right? Like, if you raise your standard of living, why wouldn't you, right? Like, if you were poor and then all of a sudden you make more money, like, you're going to stop driving the shitty Honda Civic you were driving. I'm driving a shitty Honda Civic right now. And if I got more money, I'd probably get a nicer car. I'm a little smarter, so, like, I'll get a nicer car, but I wouldn't get, like, a new car. I wouldn't get, like, even an average brand new car. I'll just get, like, a nicer car. A car where the AC works, probably. But it's not because of, of any of it. It's strictly because our standard of living is too high. The standard of living being too high means labor is too high. When labor is too high, we start getting products from somewhere else. Excuse me, from a guy who's going to live on the floor and then go to work and make your shit. Nobody understands that it's not about, the tariffs have nothing to do with bringing manufacturing back. That's cooked, it's done. I bet Trump knows. Trump probably knows there's no way to bring manufacturing back. His plan, nope. What did Trump run on last time? Like in 2016, we're going to end the wars. Great idea. Most people want that. That's a very popular opinion right now. We're going to bring manufacturing back. What else did he run on? Immigration. That's also a very popular, it's a very popular opinion. Still hasn't done it. Like the first time he failed. He failed. He didn't bring back manufacturing. He didn't deport everybody. And what was the other thing? It doesn't even matter. Like he didn't do any of these things. He didn't end the wars. Obama ran specifically on ending the wars, and he dropped the most bombs out of any president in history up to that point. The most. Doesn't matter what administration is on anymore. It's they're all just lying. Like real bad. And everybody has this like 5-minute attention span. Like when Trump has these like highly produced videos, fucking camera crew, fucking sound guys, you got a guy with a fucking boom mic trying to like get his boom mic next to some MS-13 fucking guy in New York City, and they're deporting like 300 a day. That's not even fucking close to how many people we need to deport in order to make a dent on the 10 million that came in just under President Biden. Like Donald Trump let in just as many immigrants as Obama, like pretty much the same. So like you have a president that said he was going to do something. This is every president. He said he was going to do A, B, and C, and he does none of that. And then the next time you're like, oh, well, this time's going to fucking work. No. How? How? The first time he's in bed with foreign countries. Right? So now immigration has nothing to do with the fact that you're like a dangerous guy. Now it's like, did you protest against this small Middle Eastern country full of people who wear small hats and cry in front of a fucking wall, and all their holidays are based on things that happened thousands of years ago because they were persecuted? That small country, like in the Middle East, that's like very random. Like, now we have to protect them with our money, with our shit. Come on, dog. Politics has no basis in reality. Politics is only there to sell you a narrative and to get you to think that because that this situation that we're in is because of what the opposite party is doing. It's nothing to do with actual economy, has nothing to do with the actual societal state, has nothing to do with anything in reality. Like the culture war after President Trump got worse. Worse. So in what way can you, like, when can you start just trusting these guys? Got 8 fucking minutes and I didn't even get to my point. The point of the Trump tariffs is specifically to raise the expectation of inflation. It's not to bring manufacturing back. It's not to be fair to the countries that import our shit with tariffs. Tariffs went up for Canada weeks ago. No one said a thing. But then Donald Trump comes out with his thing, and he's really loud, bombastic, provocative, and everybody starts freaking the fuck out. They're freaking out. But tariffs already went up weeks ago. Trump tariffs happened last week. 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, Canada already had a rise in tariffs for their lumber. And no one knows. Tariffs for Canada went up before the weeks ago, went up, not again, but it went up the first time months ago. No one fucking knew. You could ask anybody, when was the last time that tariffs were hiked for Canada? No one would have any idea. No one would know. They wouldn't say weeks ago, and they wouldn't say months ago. They would assume that everything's just been chilling for like years. No. Canada had a hike in tariffs twice in the last 8 months. No one said shit. But when Trump says it, and he's provocative, we're gonna do all this shit. He's got the poster with all the tariffs on it. It's good propaganda. They are good at the propaganda. Like these people, whoever they are, they're good at this. They are worthy adversaries of your respect. The Trump tariffs are specifically to increase inflation expectation. John C. Williams' speech of 2018, November 30th, 2018, titled Monetary Policy Strategies for a Low Neutral Interest Rate World, specifically said, I would say quote, but I don't remember the quote exactly, but ironically, I'm not going to try to, say it verbatim, but like, what he said was like, we have an inflation that is persistently too low rather than too high. The inflation is too low. John C. Williams is the CEO of the Federal Open Market Committee. He is the president. He is the number one dude. He's not Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell is the liaison between the government and the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a bank that the government borrows from, and they are neither federal nor do they have reserves. But John C. Williams, the president, the CEO, head honcho, the number one motherfucker, he's talking about the inflation being persistently too low. What do you do about that? Do you increase inflation? Great, good idea, right? If you have a problem, you would just fix it, right? If the inflation is too low, you would just raise the inflation. Nobody likes higher interest rates. Everyone freaks the fuck out. Everybody wants low inflation, or everyone wants lower interest rates. But the neutral interest rate, the hypothetical interest rate that is neither stimulative nor restrictive, is way too low. If the neutral interest rate is here, the Fed funds rate is here, the Fed funds rate is the interest rate from the Federal Reserve Bank. They are neither federal nor do they have reserves. And after the Federal Reserve sets an interest rate, then other banks will then follow their interest rate, like shrink or up, whatever. They are first. The government borrows money from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a bank, neither federal nor does it have reserves. The neutral interest rate, if it's at 3%, and the Fed funds rate, the actual interest rate, not Chase Bank, not fucking Key Bank, I don't know what other banks are around here. Whatever. Just not your bank. Your bank does not set interest rates. The Federal Reserve Bank does. Your bank follows the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve sets an interest rate of 3%. The neutral interest rate is 3%. You go down with the real interest rate, that means you have a stimulative effect. You go up with the real interest rate, you have a restrictive effect. You want to go up when inflation is too hot. You can battle inflation by slowing down the economy. Cool it down, slow down the money velocity, relax. You bring it down, you want to up shit. You want money spending. The economy's too slow, ramp that bitch up, start spending money. Companies get to hire people. Everybody gets their new fucking car. It's Oprah. It's going fucking crazy. Just spend the fucking money. The neutral interest rate, too low, way too low. Now we're having problems because if the neutral interest rate is too low, that means you cannot bring the real interest rate down. It stops right there. There is a situation in which you can go negative. Nobody wants that. That's a horrible idea. Then it means it just costs money to use your money. Like if you thought taxes were bad, a negative interest rate, it's just gonna fuck everything up. So you have a neutral interest rate too low. You can't set the actual interest rate lower than the neutral interest rate because it's not gonna work. If the neutral interest rate is 0.5%, you're not gonna set it down to 0.25%. And then have a slightly, like it's not going to be enough stimulation to get that nutrient. It's not going to work. No. So what do you do if you cannot use the tool of using the interest rate to stimulate the economy anymore? We're fucked. You start using your words. The Federal Reserve says they're going to use forward guidance. Forward guidance is them spreading rumors. Those rumors will then in turn get people to spend their money in a specific way to create stimulation. Will raise money velocity, the amount of dollars spent per day. right? The how fast money is spent, money velocity, the velocity of money. When you get Trump talking about tariffs, you increase inflation expectation. You increase what people think prices will be in the future. If people think a product is going to be $10 now, but $20 in the future, you buy more of the product now in order to save yourself from the price hike in the future. Neutral interest rate, too low. We cannot use interest rates anymore because we're hitting the lower bound of zero is the direct term. It's what they say. I don't make this shit up. They say it. Because we cannot use interest rates anymore, we need to get people to spend money. Spend it. Buy shit. But interest rates are too high. We have a debt-based economy. Interest rates are too high. If I cannot borrow money, I can't spend it. So then you just start talking shit. You say prices will increase in the future. Trump is bringing tariffs now. If I were Trump and I really wanted to bring tariffs to these countries, I would have done it day one. Signed a fucking piece of paper, double all tariffs, bring them to the table, let's make negotiations. But no, he didn't do that. Trump is not some gangster. He doesn't just make moves. He talks about it for 2 months. 2 months he's talking about, we got to raise tariffs. These guys aren't treating us fairly. We got to bring manufacturing back to America. Neither of those are going to work. It's not about the tariffs themselves. It's about how people spend money. You get people to spend money, you're going to raise the neutral interest rate. Just a little bit, right? Increased inflation expectation causes the neutral interest rate and the Fed funds rate, right? Causes the neutral interest rate to go up. I mean, in reality, it's actually kind of set up like this, right? Like the actual Fed funds rate is like 4.5%, and the neutral interest rate can't be determined, right? Like there's no math. This I actually know verbatim. Like in the Federal Reserve speech, and this is Michelle Bowman, says specifically that there's no mathematical formula to derive what the neutral interest rate is now. You can only, and this part isn't verbatim, that part was, but this part isn't. You can only find what the neutral interest rate is in hindsight, right? So it's almost like an average of what the inflation was, of what the interest rates were set at. But there's no mathematical formula to derive it. So we don't even know what it is. They don't even know what it is. They're the people in the know. They don't know what it is. But right now, we have an interest rate that is like 4.5%. And we have a neutral interest rate that is somewhere around here. Somewhere. Could be here, it could be here, it could be here. Nobody knows. There's no way to tell. There's no mathematical formula to derive what the neutral interest rate is today. Trump talks about tariffs. People spend money. The interest rate, the real interest rate, the Fed funds rate is still the same. But after he talks about tariffs and people start spending money because they don't want to spend money during the price hike, money velocity goes up. You barely see me move. Let's exaggerate it, right? So we're here, right? Fed funds rate, neutral interest rate. Trump talks about tariffs. He says that prices will increase in the future. That's the neutral interest rate rises. The Fed funds rate did not need to move to create a more stimulative effect. It's still restrictive, but it's more stimulative than it was before he talked about tariffs. That's the game right now. The game is to raise the neutral interest rate. How do you do it? You spend money. Interest rates are stuck too high. We cannot lower the interest rate. What else can we do? We start talking shit. And that's the whole game right now. We need to use forward guidance. The Fed said that they need, the Fed said they need to use forward guidance in order to create a stimulative effect on the economy. They do not move the interest rate anymore. That is no longer a tool they can use. Right now, their goal is to keep it at a flexible interest rate to average 2%. To average 2%. That means it's going to be above 2% for some time, and it might go below 2% for some time. It's going to be somewhere around there so that overall there is an average. It is the flexible inflation targeting. They do not have inflation targets They do not have interest rate targets. They have flexible inflation targeting. That's a whole nother video. I shouldn't have even brought it up. The whole goal is to move the neutral interest rate up so that with the actual interest rate, we can go under it to create stimulation. They do not have the tool of using interest rates in order to affect the economy anymore, because we've been going on low interest rates for way too long. The neutral interest rate has now reached the lower bound of zero, in which they cannot use interest rates to stimulate the economy anymore. That is done. We are not getting low interest rates for some time. We're just not. They are aiming for an average inflation target of 2%. Average inflation, not a target inflation of 2%. They want an average inflation of 2%. That means they're going to go above, that means they're going to be below, but they're not going to be at 2%. They could, you can still get an average, but like, that's the goal isn't 2% target. The goal is a 2% average. That was fun. All right. You'll figure it out. I'll yell at the camera again later. Who fucking knows? Yeah, you'll figure it out. Good luck.